Hello everyone, welcome to the show Coffee with Captain. So today we have Captain Siddharth and he has experience of flying with charters. So basically today we are going to discuss about the charter flying and all. So let's welcome Captain Siddharth. Welcome to the
Hello.
show, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So today basically I'm very much excited to know about that. What
Yes.
exactly the charter flying and how people, if anyone, is just try to pursue their career into the charter flying.
Okay.
So what are the prospect of it? So could you please explain that after doing a CPL, like what are the step you just took to get into the charter flyings?
Okay. So thank you for having me, first of all. So yeah, I finished my training from IGRUA back in 2019, and then the pandemic struck to all of us. It was a very difficult situation, but then after that, I waited for 1 year, and then I just wanted to fly. So I just kept trying, and there is no fixed regime to get into a charter. So it's like you just keep looking for it, looking for a job, looking for people. Like you just keep talking to them, and then eventually you'll get into it. So there is no fixed regime. There's no fixed vacancy like we get in the
Airlines.
yeah, airlines, the schedule operators. It's a non-schedule operator. So just like the flights, the vacancies are also non-scheduled. So it's like that.
All right.
So apart from that, if you have anyone that is already working in charters, yeah, he can obviously recommend you. So it works basically on recommendations. There is
Okay.
no fixed regime for like vacancies in charters. So that's how I got into it. One of my friend suggested to just try it out, and I wanted to fly. And I was working for an air ambulance. We used to do air ambulance medical flights and
Ah,
charters
right.
domestically, not international. So
So
yeah, that's
definitely
about
it's
it.
going to be more interesting one by just operating for the air ambulance. You must be just helping a lot of people,
Yeah,
those who are basically in the critical scenarios, right?
yeah.
So could you please just tell me any of your critical scenario while you're just helping any of the people to just who got survive in the very much critical situation and you help them out?
There are, I mean, in medical emergencies, every medical flight is an emergency. So there have been a lot of critical situations, but to highlight one of the things is that you have to be very careful about which patient you're transferring, and you have to have a good crew resource management with the medical team as well.
Right.
So as they are there and they have the authority because they'll be checking the patient. So if the doctor is approving a patient, that means he's fit to fly, because you never know what will happen in the air,
Right.
because there are a lot of variations that come into place.
Right.
So it all depends on how you communicate with your crew.
Right.
And there have been a lot of situations, like, to just highlight one of the situations where we had to carry an infant, a
Yeah.
baby.
Please do so.
So we had to take care of a lot of things because the patient was an infant. So we had to be very careful about how we are loading the patient, unloading the patient. The doctor, he has to approve, and then take off, landing. It has to be a little. It should not be rough.
Yeah, definitely you must be
So
just having this caution while going for the landing.
yeah. So because that was one of the situations I'll highlight. Then there were a lot of other things where we used to get burnt patients, we used to get suicidal patients, we used to get very critical patients who had like organ failures and all those things. So we had to. There were a lot of situations. Like there's no particular situation I could highlight, because air ambulance is all about emergencies. But yeah, we have to take into consideration a lot of factors before loading and unloading the patient. So
So basically, it's a last moment critical flight
yes, I
where,
mean, sorry, but
yeah,
it's not just last moment. I mean, so there's a car in DGCA, so it just highlights the degree of seriousness.
all
So
right,
according to that,
yeah,
we do the shift, loading and unloading and transfer of the patients.
all right.
Yeah.
So basically, just I need to know that what all
Okay.
the measures you taken as a caution before just taking any of the patient in board.
Okay.
Like, do we have the proper team of doctor and any protocol that we need to just keep in our mind as being a pilot? What are the our duties?
Okay. So as a pilot, so basically, air ambulance, it works. with a team of doctor, paramedic, two pilots, and you can have one more paramedic as well. It depends on the uh, company and the medical team, but then the minimum requirement is a doctor, an MBBS doctor, and a paramedic. So according to the car, we just follow that, and then after apart from that, we carry one or two attendants and the patient himself or herself. So yeah, so we have a doctor team, we have a paramedic who are trained to do the job. So they check the patient before loading. If the patient is critical, we don't take it. If not, we do it. So that's the basic requirement, and two pilots, of course.
All right. So just Siddharth, I just want to know
Yeah.
from your side that how expensive these flights are. Like the common people from India, whether are they able to afford it? If we just come to the like financial terms and all.
Okay. So in terms of finance, it's way too expensive as of now. Not a lot of people are able to afford these flights. So it's a lot of money, and it depends from sector to sector. The longer sector costs a lot of money, the shorter ones cost less money. But then it's as of now, I think only the middle class, upper middle class, and the rich people are able to afford it. Uh, but yeah, they're improving so that it is accessible to the entire country. And one major problem I've noticed that a lot of people are not medically insured in India.
Right.
So there is one part of insurance that covers air ambulance fares as well. So if the people of India are aware of that, they'll be able to afford. All of them will be able to afford. But then again, the cost is a lot. So as of now, we don't have so many medical air ambulance flights going on because of the availability of runway strips, runways. So most of them helicopters, but then we are getting there soon.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, as being aspirant, those who are looking into their career into the aviation, right?
Okay.
So, like few of the people, those who are looking into aviation are just out of 12, just out of graduation, right?
Okay.
So, is it a right path to choose them to come into the charter flight and all?
Okay.
Like, as you've been experienced into it,
Okay.
so could you please just highlight the point because it's a career opportunity for
Okay.
them as
Yeah, I
well.
understand.
Like, so how do you just suggest to the youngest?
So it all depends upon the situation. So back when I just finished my training. I didn't have any jobs. So the charters were actually not booming, but they had quite a good amount of vacancies. So it all depends upon the situation. Right now, the scheduled operators have opened a lot of vacancies. So I think it will be better to go there. But then again, you have to look at the situation and accordingly act upon it, because in aviation is a very volatile business, so it changes within
Right,
days.
right,
You never know, minutes, days, hours, weeks. So you never know what will happen tomorrow, day after tomorrow. So it all depends upon the situation. You have to be very careful of about how you make your decision, and you have to not be rash. So at that point, the best decision I could take was to join charters because there were no jobs available around India.
right.
Yeah.
So see that like you have flew for the more than hundreds of hours,
Okay.
right, for the charters and all. So
Okay.
what was the critical flight that even affect you as a person while you just flew that flight? It was very sentimental for you, right? Because you was dealing with a lot of passengers, a lot of sentiment, right?
Okay.
So could you please just share your one of your experience?
Uh, so I mean, uh, there was this flight from Ranchi to Delhi where we had a fuel halt at Varanasi. So the patient was very critical. He was younger than me. He was just 23, 24, committed suicide. So we took off from Ranchi. We landed in Varanasi. So after that, we refueled, and the patient was actually very critical. He was almost not. He was not going to live. Like, I should not say this, but then on camera, but then by looking at him, even the most positive man on this planet would say uh, the chances of
It was very
hopes,
very critical for
yeah,
you,
was
right?
very minimal. So but in spite of that, we did our best job. We took him to we were supposed to go to Delhi, but then we landed in Varanasi. It was all fine, perfect. But then after we took off from Varanasi, just crossing 10,000 feet, the patient passed away. So that was really sad for me because the attendant was the patient's sister, and his dad was also in the flight. So I had already noticed all these things, but then you have hope is never false. You always have hope.
Right,
So we everybody in this planet works on the concept of, not everyone, but then most of them believe in hope. So even if there's a tiniest chance of that person surviving, they just take it. They don't give a damn about all the other things.
right,
So that was very emotional for me. I mean, I had to keep my emotions intact within me. I could not express them. So I was doing my job. Basically, I was sitting in the front seat. So I was not practically able to do anything about the emotional part. So we just turned around, we came back, and the attendants were just telling me to just take them back home. They didn't want anything else, just to get back home. So this was one of the, I think, the most sentimental experiences I've had uh, while flying with charters. Yeah.
right. So in many of the cases, when I just come to a feedback, like I'm
Okay.
communicating with my fellow friends,
Okay.
that in some of the critical scenario also, like they
Okay.
are basically the charters and unscheduled operators. So they are like very much looking into their financial terms, while it's a very critical scenario.
Okay.
So have you ever faced that type of scenario?
I mean, as of now, it's a business,
Right,
so they have to pay a lot of people. So this, and they have to generate profit as well. That's the reality of every business in India. So as of now, it's not a social. It's not big. It's not completely a social service because unless and until you have a rich benefactor benefiting your company, it can never be a social service. It will always be a business.
right.
So that fact comes into play a lot. I mean, the money part, yeah, it
That's
is
true.
there.
I mean,
That's
I do
there.
understand. Right,
Yeah, that's there. So you just can't avoid that. But then people are ready to pay, and then the insurance part, as I said earlier, it covers it. But then I don't know how many people are aware about it. I mean, this if this video helps
yeah.
the viewers, they
Definitely,
should
definitely.
get medically insured.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right,
So that's about, yeah.
right. So basically, you have flew for the charters. So
Okay.
definitely, you have just got opportunity to fly for the very VVIP persons as well, right?
Okay.
So you
Yes.
must got some opportunity like that. Could you please share like who all celebrities you have flown and how was your experience flying with them?
I've flown quite a bit of celebrities, VVIPs. I mean, I don't remember the name of the VIPs, the politicians. But then I was flying for Gujarat election for a while. I mean, for a month.
Right,
And yeah, I mean, the only problem, it's not a problem, but it's solely based on the requirement. It's not scheduled again. Yeah, you have to be ready whenever they ask you to. But we don't break the rules. We follow the rules, and we already inform the I'm sorry, we already informed their personal assistant, so we don't have the direct connection with the VIP, obviously. So we inform their personal assistant that this is the case, this is how we'll go about it, this is how it's gonna be. If
right,
not, we cannot take off.
right,
So we just inform them beforehand so that it's not an issue because they have already paid for the flight.
right,
So we have to keep them informed. But yeah, I mean, it's on demand. Like we don't have a schedule for that. We have to be prepared. That's it. But flying them was a good experience. You make new contacts, you get to know them, and you get to see a lot of local and remote places because these politicians and VIPs, actors as well, they keep traveling to these remote areas where even you are wondering, okay, what they will do here. But then
right,
it's always surprising
right.
seeing such places.
So basically, what I come to know about after that conclusion that whatever the scenario it be,
Yeah.
but definitely as a pilot, we are gonna look into the all the checks and procedures, all the
Okay.
what are the rules and regulation. We are
Mhm.
just following that all of it, right? All right. So after as being a pilot
Okay.
and got the experience with the charter flyings and all, if it comes to the career perspective for the newcomers,
Okay.
and they are just looking for getting the CPL, right?
Okay.
Coming into the aviation industry, what are the suggestions you basically would prefer to give it to them? Because they are just gonna looking for the career like after CPL uh, they can be a
Okay. Mhm.
assistant flight instructor in the flying school. They
Okay.
can become a charter flyers. They can
Okay.
become a basically a airline basically pilots,
Okay.
right? So, what are the best way to get inside into the aviation industry after getting the CPL?
So it all depends upon the interest once again and the opportunity. So if you're good at teaching and you like teaching, then definitely going into instructional is the thing that you should go for.
Right,
But then if you want a relaxed flying, I mean, not a busy schedule and a hectic schedule, so you can obviously go for charters, but then that's not good for the youngsters that are just coming out of their training. And yeah, but what I feel is the best way to start your career is in airlines. So there you have a fixed schedule, you're disciplined, you're planning your things. So I feel, yeah, airlines is the best way to start your career. Later on, you can come to charters, or you can start your career as an instructor as well. You get to learn. You get to so basically, when you're being an instructor, you meet new students. You understand. You basically become a psychoanalyst. You're meeting so many students. You're teaching them. So you're a teacher. You'll understand that better,
right, right,
so you'll understand their psychology, how they behave, how they react to the things you say, which student will learn better. So being an instructor will help you a lot, but then again it depends on the interest totally. But if you want to start your career and if you want to fly, I think airlines is the best way to go for it. Okay.
if you're just operating a charter flight, so you're
Okay.
being a pilot, what are the basically benefit and perks you're getting it?
Yeah, you get to meet a lot of high rank people, celebrities, and a lot of rich people basically. So you tend to they actually, what I felt is they respect the pilots, and they tend to give their contact number, so that's one of the perks we have. They try to help you, they tend to help you, and they're actually there if you genuinely need some help from them. And yeah, obviously you get to meet celebrities. You don't get to do that on a day to day basis.
Right,
Yeah, you get to meet, I mean, they're also normal people, but then again, they're very famous. You want to see them, you get to meet them, and you're just satisfied. Apart from that, I mean, airlines have a fixed amount of perks for the pilots, but in charters, if you're working for them, if you're going somewhere, you want to eat something, you just eat, and there's no fixed amount how much you have to eat. You just eat, you submit the bills, and all those things. So it's a fixed system in every charter. So there is no system like you have to just get one meal, two meal. No, you're working for them. You have the complete
you have
authority.
basically the liberty to whatever
Yeah,
you feel
liberty.
like,
Yeah, exactly.
you can have it.
Yeah, exactly. You have your liberty.
Yeah,
You start making building contacts, better contacts in charters rather than airlines. Charter is a place where you can actually grow and build more contacts, so that even if you want to leave this profession later on, you have some people who can help you or guide you in some or the other way. That's what I feel. I don't
right,
know about others, but
right.
yeah, that's what I feel.
By the last, I would just like to ask you the last question, that after CPL,
Okay.
what are the financial stability if you are flying into the charters?
So charter space pay well. It depends from aircraft to aircraft again. So they have turboprops, jets. So the bigger the jet you fly, the more salary you receive. That's about it. I mean, apart from that, but yeah, the type rating part. So charters, they have very uh, less aircrafts. I mean, the jets in the world, the charter jets that are flying in the world are very less as compared to Airbus, Boeing, Bombardier, Embraer.
Right,
So yeah, I mean, if you're flying a Gulfstream, obviously you're getting paid more because
definitely.
they only do like VVIP and long haul flights, and luxury, global, same thing. So you get paid pretty well in charters if you have that experience. But the type rating is very expensive.
Calculating
Yeah, because
how much does it cost?
so again it depends from aircraft to aircraft.
Aircraft to aircraft,
Yeah.
right, right. On an
So on a
average,
Gulfstream, I think somewhere about it's more than 30 lakhs, 30
right.
lakhs, 35 lakhs. Last I checked, yeah, it's more than that,
It's on an
including,
average that much only.
yeah, on an average it's not less than 30 for sure.
Ah,
Yeah,
it is for them, sure.
yeah, it's quite expensive, but then if you have the experience, then the company is ready to pay for it, and then they do it for you, so it's not an issue.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So today definitely we'll got to know basically a lot of stuff about the charter flying, and I really thanks Captain Siddharth for
Yep.
having
Thank you.
here. Basically come across regarding all the charter flyings, what exactly is it, what are the critical situation they just you to operate the flight and all. So thank you so much for joining
Yeah,
me.
you're welcome. Thanks for having me
Thank,
again.
thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. Yeah.